ECU?
Do you bleed purple and gold?
Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
It's Thursday, March 12th. Welcome in to Hoist the Colors. A few days away from another series inside Clark LeClaire Stadium as the Pirates will host the University of Pennsylvania from the Ivy League this weekend. ECU will go in red hot offensively, scoring the 10th most runs in program history last night. 24-3 win over William & Mary. We'll get into that game a whole lot more as the Pirates pick up their 10th win of the season. Break down what it means, some standout performances, and more from that game. We'll also discuss the big news for Pirates in the pros. Katon Mitchell has signed a new 2-year contract with an AFC West team. I was hoping it was going to be the Denver Broncos. Instead, it is the Los Angeles Chargers. So Katon Mitchell heading to L.A. to become a Charger. We'll break down what that means for Katon and much more. Maybe talk about the Max Crosby situation and more from NFL Free Agency. World Baseball Classic. U.S. moves on. No thanks to really themselves, but they are moving on to the next round. We'll break that down as well. Crazy game, too, in Miami between Dominican and Venezuela. That was a lot of fun I had watching last night. So we got a lot to get to. We'll also visit with Daron Vaught. In the second half of the show, ECU basketball play-by-play voice. Philip Pilkington and I have given our perspective on the season. Daron was as close to this program as anybody. What went wrong? What did he think of it? Where did the Pirates go from here? We'll get Darren's perspective second half of the show. Also talk some college baseball with him. He'll be on the call for a key ACC series this weekend. Florida State, Wake Forest. So looking forward to chatting with Daron. Comments are open on YouTube, Facebook, and X if you got something to add. And Kenny Carlin's in the chat. He says that was a butt kicking yesterday. Yes, it was, Kenny. And we could barely hear it for the first inning. We definitely could not see it unless you were there. Philip Pilkington, you were producing this game. And let's start there. Because unless you were one of the official 642 people in attendance per William & Mary, nobody saw it. And you were producing and you had to work through some logistical issues. Look, I called out William & Mary for it. I don't know. You give me your perspective on what the deal was with the internet setup.
So first off, we went there 2 years ago and had no issues. They knew that we were bringing radio once again. Our Comrex unit, which is what connects Dylan and Coach O back to our station, needs internet, needs an Ethernet cord. It's the same with every single team that they host. I get they don't host a lot of radio teams, but we've been there before. And they even had a spot for us set up to be on. They said, okay, here's where you guys are, but they had no internet for Dylan and Coach O. So Dylan said he asked some people. They were like, okay, yeah, we'll help you out, and then never really did. And then finally, the William & Mary radio broadcast team, which much like ours is not technically employees of the university, went out of their way to say, wow, this is making us look bad. We're going to bust our tail to help make sure you guys get on. And sure enough, thanks to the William & Mary broadcast team for helping out Dylan and Coach O, but the William & Mary actual staff didn't seem to care at all. Like I said, they were not prepared for us to show up with radio. I mean, they don't have a TV stream. I mean, bottom line, don't play JV teams. And you know what? I'm going to call them a JV team because that was a football score. And they looked like a JV team on the field, and they have a JV TV set up. Oh, wait, they don't have TV at all. And they were not helpful to Dylan and Coach O at all. And, yeah, I mean, this is just ridiculous. This is why, Coach Palumbo does a heck of a job with the schedule. I understand it's tough to schedule games, but maybe this is a series that shouldn't continue if they can't do basic things like have an Ethernet cord for the opposing radio team.
Yeah, look, obviously it's one of those things that coaches, they schedule these things out with some administrative help, but it's not like they have a huge idea of what goes on behind the scenes with media, game coverage, that sort of thing. But you would think, just like I said yesterday, in the year 2026, that William & Mary would have the capability to if they're not going to at least televise the game, which is a joke in itself, at least provide an Ethernet cord. Like, it should be that difficult. I was at Coastal Carolina this past weekend, and look, their press box setup isn't the best in the world, but they had about 50 Ethernet cords, one of which I had to plug into via an adapter because I could not get the Wi-Fi working. So
yeah, their Wi-Fi was weird, man. I had to like sign up for an account, and then it worked on my laptop, and I couldn't get it to work on my iPad because I was trying to watch the World Baseball Classic. Yeah. But still, it was nice.
They had backup plans ready to go, though.
They did. They had backup plans ready to go, and Dylan and Coach O had a great radio booth and a good experience. And, that went well.
So ECU puts the absolute hammer down on William and Mary, 24-3. Let's get into this box score if we can. You know, usually I do like a traditional game recap, and I wrote a little bit paragraph form yesterday on Hoist the Colors, but the majority of my article was just a series of bullet points on all the accomplishments ECU had in this game. So the 24 runs were the most since ECU beat Delaware State 24-0 in 2011. It also tied for the 10th most runs in school history. Two other games during the 2004 season, ECU dropped 24 runs at Charlotte. They also set the school record in 2004. This was like during the metal bats, just like launch ball.
Yeah, composite bats era.
Yeah, like just straight up gorilla ball era. They dropped 32 runs at Cincinnati in I think the final score was 32-14 in that game. So that's the highest ECU has ever scored in a game, in case you were wondering. But 24 last night, 20 hits. Another game where ECU just got on base basically any way possible. 10 walks, 3 hit by pitches, 2 strikeouts. So now that freebie to strikeout ratio continues to go in the right direction. Look, is William & Mary pitching great? No, but again, credit the approach. Really good up and down the lineup. Everybody had a hit in the starting lineup except for Jack Heron. And, he just walked 4 times. So, that'll help out the OPS, the on-base percentage as well. And Parker Bird, second career hit off the bench. Obviously, we all know his great story, and he gets the infield single to go through the left side. Awesome to see him. By the way, Scott Lorbatcher's bold prediction on the Bucks on the Pond podcast, he called a Parker Bird hit this weekend, so that hits. Great call by Scott. Chance Hall got his first career hit off the bench as well. 20 hits total, 4 shutouts, bullpen appearances from Charlie Hoagland, Joe Webb, Frank Saccone, Jackson DiLorenzo. Brett Antola gets the win. Gave up 3 RBI to the same guy, including a 2-run homer from Chrisman, but I thought pitched better than maybe his line indicated, 5 Ks and 3 innings. So, look, man, just a dominant all-around victory. Philip, what did you notice? Since we didn't see it, what did you notice here in the game?
Yeah, I kind of hate it for Antola because I do feel like you said, he probably pitched better than the line indicates. I thought even after the home run, he was going right at hitters, had a handful of strikeouts. But, man, I just love to see, everybody in the starting lineup get on base. Like you said, we're there for Herring. It's tough to go 0 for when everybody has a hit, but when you're 0 for 1 with 4 walks, you can't get hits if they don't throw you strikes, I guess. So that kind of stunk. But just the fact that, look, this isn't the best lineup, but it's not the worst one we're going to see all year. And the fact that we had, 4 guys go out there in relief appearances and not let up any runs. And some of those guys pitched themselves into, I wouldn't say trouble, but there was some traffic on the bases. It wasn't like William & Mary was going up there and just, not giving a crap or, taking bad ABs. They got some dudes on base, and we had some young guys get out there and pitch out of those situations. And look, we keep saying it again and again that this pitching staff is deeper than we've maybe ever had. And when you see a game like last night, does it solidify any of these guys as legit depth pieces? No. But you go on there and you give them another 2 or 3 outings like this, and a guy like, Charlie Hoagland, his ERA is under 3 right now. We haven't really talked about him. And now they have been a lot of mop-up opportunities, but look, somebody at some point is going to have to skip a start or is going to get hurt or, or is going to get shelled, and he's going to be called on in a big situation. It seems like the confidence is building with that young man.
You mentioned it. He had, I think, the bases loaded, 1 out. There was a couple of hits and I think an error behind him, and he ended up striking out the side. So, look, lefty, different arm slot. I think he's a guy that ECU will be able to mix and match with on the back end. Good to see him. And then, we haven't seen DiLorenzo since, opening day, or at least opening weekend, so it was good to see him get back. ECU pitching as a whole, 14 Ks against 3 walks. And so that ratio combined with 13 freebies offensively to 2 Ks, that is just winning baseball, and obviously it reflects in the score. Braden Burris goes 4 for 5, a home run shy of the cycle. He finishes with a double, triple, 3 RBI, 4 runs scored. Also saw Matt Lashley pick up 4 RBI. Austin Irby, 3 for 4, 3 runs scored, 4 RBI. Colby Wallace, 3 for 6, 3 runs scored, 2 RBI. Walker Barron, 2 for 3, 2 runs scored, 3 RBI. Just everybody got in on the action. Pirates finished with 6 extra base hits, 4 doubles, a triple from Burst, and then the home run from Austin Irby. And Irby, by the way, also walked twice, so reached base 5 times in 6 plate appearances. How do we feel? I'm not trying to be controversial here. This is just more of a baseball discussion because they can go either way. ECU, I think, was up 22-3. Austin Irby swinging 3-0, hits the jack. How do we feel about that? The old unwritten baseball rule, don't swing 3-0 when you're beating a team down. But Austin's he's trying to get his home run total up, man. I can see it both ways.
Yeah, it's tough because this team has just not hit a lot of bombs, and that was an opportunity to kind of do one. I don't know, man. At least, I think honestly we had a steal kind of late in the game that I thought more was a little.
Yeah.
It was I think we were up 17-3 at the time. We stole second base. So that one, maybe I was even a little more why are we still in a bag? But, if you're going to throw a guy a meatball, you're going to throw a guy a meatball, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
I was just always told growing up, hey, if you're up by 10-plus runs, up 3-0, just don't swing. But I'm
But also, it's a little different when you're 11 and 12-year-olds and you're grown men who are getting paid to play baseball.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Now they're getting paid. Because I've always said, there are certain unwritten rules that apply in Little League, high school, maybe even college that don't apply in the majors or the NFL or NBA or whatever because you're getting paid millions of dollars. Well, guess what? I ain't getting paid millions, but they are getting paid.
Well, Austin Irby's getting paid. I don't know if the William and Mary reliever
That's true.
is.
That's a good point. Well, if you were facing Texas Tech last year in softball and that softball pitcher was getting $1 million and she hangs one 3-0 and you're up by 10 runs, take her deep.
Pirates win at 24-3. And look, through the first 2 games of this week, 35-3 the score. That's pretty impressive. Beat Old Dominion 11-0 on Tuesday. Crush William Mary here. You're doing what you need to do. But there's still 3 games left. And I never really said it was get right week, but the schedule, I did say the schedule softened up after the series at Coastal, and ECU's taking advantage. And this is just a great week to get some confidence up. And Pennsylvania's tricky. If you come in against Penn and you're taking them lightly because you've been rolling, they've got good enough pitching to hang around. And if somebody runs into one or you have a bad outing before one of your pitchers, they could steal a game or 2 this weekend. So you still got to show up. But this is kind of, at least thus far, the blueprint what we were hoping for, Philip. Just get a bunch of guys in, get some confidence up, both on the mound and at the plate. And I think this could really kind of balloon into a pretty good win streak, hopefully.
It's funny. I counted there were 4 position players on the roster that didn't get in yesterday. And I think all of them are either hurt or redshirting. I could be wrong. There might be one guy who's not, but you're getting a lot of guys in. This is Pirate baseball. This is what the fans expected early in the season, is to go out there and, as the kids say these days, BTA, and that's what you've done the last 2 days, and that's going to carry some momentum in a conference play if you can do it over the next 4 games here in the next 8 days.
A few comments here, before we get a break in. Josh Thomas wants to know, have we ever run ruled 2 different teams on consecutive days? I know ECU's definitely run ruled back-to-back games, but 2 different teams? I don't know.
There's got to be the problem is the run rule's so new to college baseball.
Yes.
So maybe not, but there's definitely been some years that we've played that Tuesday, Wednesday, and played at Elon and probably William and Mary or VCU or something and had close. I don't know, maybe I'm trying to think recent LeClaire Classic weekends. I don't know, but yeah.
Well, maybe we'll do some quick research during the break. All right, Kenny saying that William and Mary played like a JV team. going along with your comment. Johnny Stats was at the game. He said, I would say that at least 450 of the 642 in attendance were wearing purple and gold. The players and coaches had to share the only public restroom available. Speaking of JV, that I'm sure Duke is upgraded, but that's how it was the time I was at your old Jack Coombs Field. I was using the bathroom pregame beside a Duke player, so that was always a.
They're renovating actually the stadium right now. They have like these big like crates that you go to the bathroom in now.
Crates.
They're like these massive like crates, maybe about. It's like they're big boxes.
Okay.
And they've got like 2 bathrooms per.
So we're back in the outhouse days.
Yeah, it's kind of what you're in now. It comes.
Oh man, Johnny Robertson says William & Mary pitchers threw 242 pitches, 35.6 pitches per inning. The Pirates are batting .458 in their last 3 games. Argue Ready says won by 3 touchdowns. We had a great comment on Hoist the Colors. I think it was News Pirate posted that he was kind of disappointed that Emory Williams and Jordan Davis only put up 24 points, but he was happy with the defensive effort. So
I did walk in and look at Thomas the other night and said, "Oh, I didn't know they played college football in March." And he was like, "Yeah, man, I don't think I've ever seen a score like that."
Pretty brutal for William & Mary. All right, let's get a break in. As Johnny adds, it is special when you have more runs than outs. No doubt. That is a good day at the ballpark for one team. The other team, not as much. Good day for ECU, bad day for William & Mary. We'll get a break in. We'll come back. World Baseball Classic, USA advances, college basketball tournaments ongoing. Also, Katon Mitchell has a new home. We'll tell you about that on the other side.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted source.
Every ECU fan's one stop for all things ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Second segment here. We'll be joined second half of the show by Daron Vaught, the ECU basketball play-by-play announcer. We'll recap the season with him, get his perspective, also talk some college baseball with Daron, who does some great work covering that sport as well. We were talking segment one, has ECU ever run-ruled different teams on consecutive days? Still don't know the answer to that, but Josh, who asked the question, followed up and said last year ECU had 3 run rules in a span of 4 games. No surprise, Phillip. 2 of those were against the JV team, William & Mary.
Is that like a Tuesday, Wednesday deal?
So this was the week ECU played at VCU twice, won 12-2 and 11-1. The second of those games was not a run rule; it just went the distance. And then the third, or the weekend, then was William & Mary at home on a Friday, Saturday. 12-0, 19-6, and then ECU swept the series with a 9-8 win on Saturday during the second game of a doubleheader. So there's your answer there. I feel kind of bad for former ECU pitcher Brad Mincy, who was one of my favorite ECU players to watch growing up. He's the pitching coach for William & Mary, and it's not going so great when he plays the Pirates. So I don't know. Don't want to accuse anybody of throwing the game, but at least he's helping out the Pirates. So.
I mean, to be fair, we do have to give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt. Like, we were talking about it going in the week, how much the staff can be depleted when you play back-to-back midweeks. Just because the way college baseball pitching staffs are set up, it's meant for the weekend. They did play Virginia on Tuesday. Like, they played a real program on Tuesday.
They did, and they only lost 9-7.
Yeah.
And so they probably exhausted some of their better pitching in that game. All right, big news for Pirates in the pros. We were kind of looking forward to seeing where Katon Mitchell landed. I'm happy for Katon. I'm not happy for my fandom of the Denver Broncos because Katon Mitchell is going to the LA Chargers. As much as I dislike the Chiefs, as much as I dislike the Raiders, like the Chargers are just, I don't know, probably like the lamest franchise for me. They don't really have home fans or anything like that since they moved out of San Diego. But either way, Katon
They didn't have them there either.
Yeah, that is true. Katon gets a big payday for a running back that hasn't had the most productive career, but his potential obviously I think leads to this. He gets a 2-year deal worth over $9 million, max value of $11.25 million, probably some bonuses in there to reach those, but $5 million guaranteed for Katon, who had only earned $2.4 million over his 3 previous seasons as an undrafted free agent. So happy for Katon. Look, we know the running back shelf life can be short in the NFL, and he had that major injury at the end of his rookie season when he was just really getting into form. And so I'm glad he's getting a payday here. Obviously, if he stays healthy these next 2 years, he could put up big numbers, get another contract. But like if he invests this money the right way, he could be, set for a long time. So that's knowing how good of a young man Katon is. I'm happy for him. But I think it's a good opportunity too. LA. They have Marion Hampton, obviously, as their starter. Najee Harris is a free agent, so he's gone. Kamani Vidal is a solid backup, but I think Keaton's going to be right there, RB2, RB3. We'll see what happens in the draft. But this is a good situation. And Mike McDaniel is the new OC, right, in L.A. So, this is interesting to me.
Yeah, so first off, Marion's going to be your every down back, right? But Marion's got some speed, but he can be a bruiser as well. They need their one cut and go guy, and I think it's to be between, like you said, between Kamani and between Katon. So, look, 2026, your number one doesn't carry the ball on every play, doesn't play on every play, so there's going to be some downs there. And, the tough thing, I guess, is those guys both are kind of undersized backs. Kamani's probably a little better in pass pro than Katon, but I think definitely when you get into those second and short situations where, hey, you run some sort of spread offense where it's like, hey, you look like you're going to throw the ball deep and then you run a draw play, like Katon can be your guy if you spread out the defense well because he can be a one cut and go kind of guy. Obviously, we know his speed here in Greenville. And
McDaniel loves to use the outside zone, which obviously features that type of running back a lot, and I think that's a perfect fit. And for Katon, it's just all about health with him, because he is an interesting player for an NFL running back. He's obviously undersized, and he's not a great receiving back, and he's not very good in pass pro, but like he's just elite with the football in his hands. I mean, he has over 6 yards per carry as an NFL running back, which is
crazy,
pretty darn impressive. Not many guys can say that. So hopefully he stays healthy. You mentioned it. Hampton's going to be the number one. He dealt with injuries last year. We'll see how that transpires, but it's better than being stuck behind Derrick Henry, who like never came out of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm happy for Keaton. So good to see him and Jaquan getting some paydays this offseason. World Baseball Classic, USA, still alive, baby. Thanks to Team Italy. They take care of business against Mexico, and really, I guess even if Mexico would have come back, unless it went to like a bunch of extra innings, USA was good after Italy jumped out to a big lead. So it wasn't as uncomfortable to watch as we initially thought. And now USA-Canada, Friday night. Are we ready?
We are, man. Got them in women's hockey, got them in men's hockey. Now let's get them on the diamond as well. You know, Steven, obviously we were all pulling for Italy. We want the U.S. to advance, but part of me was thinking about you. I was like, man, how bad's Steven going to look if his World Baseball Classic pick doesn't even make it out of the group play? Like, I picked Japan, baby. Yeah. They cruised. James picked DR. They look good. They were, just fighting for the avoiding Japan in the quarterfinal game last night between them and Venezuela, and Venezuela made that late push in that contest. So, you're going to have to come on here and talk about how the U.S. let you down. But they didn't let you down. At least Italy didn't let you down.
I just would have roasted Mark DeRosa for a good 15 minutes for
not knowing the rules.
Not knowing the rules of the tournament you were managing in.
What a moron.
Yeah.
He's a good manager, but like you gotta clown him for that.
Yeah, that was bad. And look, I like Mark DeRosa as an analyst, and I like him as a person. But yeah, that was bad. So the knockout stage is set. We've got Korea and the Dominican Republic Friday, March 13th, 6:30 on Friday night, and then U.S. and Canada also that night on Fox. The next round will also be a knockout stage in the semifinals, and then, of course, you have the championship game. On the other side of the bracket, you got Puerto Rico, Italy, which honestly should be a fun game, and Venezuela, Japan. So, did you watch any of the DR-Venezuela game last night?
Yeah,
it was a blast,
I had it on
man.
Tubi on my iPad. That was a good game, man. The atmosphere was phenomenal. I think I think you and I said it before the tournament started. Like, if we could go to one game, it was going to be that
Absolutely.
one. Like, because those countries care so much about baseball. But one of the things that I think people are not talking about enough right now going into this quarterfinal, Steven, is if you throw 60 pitches in the group play, so you're allowed to throw 65, but if you throw 60 or more, you have to have 4 days rest. Yes, now Japan and Korea will come over with some jet lag, but they will have all of their pitchers available due to the longer layoff, and they will be an advantage. And obviously we know how good this Japanese team is, but we talked about it before the tournament as well. You can't count Korea out. Yes, they have a tough matchup, but these guys are the all-stars of the KBO. The KBO is a really good baseball league. It would be equivalent to like the KHL in hockey. I mean, these guys are legit professional baseball players. And I was texting one of my buddies this morning. He's from here, but he's Puerto Rican descent, so he's pulling for Puerto Rico. And we were talking about how every single one of these matchups in the quarterfinals is really an intriguing matchup. And I mean, I'm really excited for Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, man, it's going to be awesome because, and two, when it's one game. Yeah. Like, I mean, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Game 7, and we're simulating games 1 through 6.
So looking forward to it. By the way, Yamamoto will go for Japan on Saturday. Venezuela starting Ranger Suarez, who, by the way, I think he's came out and said he wants to be known as, or his official pronunciation is Ron Hare.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he said that this offseason.
That does sound more Spanish than Ranger. Ranger sounds like a dude who grew up on a farm. Come here, Ranger.
He said that because he's with the Sox now, right? With the Red Sox?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he said that to the Boston media, but he's like, y'all can still call me Ranger. So that should be fun. Should be an awesome weekend of baseball. Obviously, we'll be monitoring that along with ECU Penn. Let's get a break in. We come back. Daron Vaught going to join us, ECU basketball play-by-play announcer. We'll get his take on the season, talk some college baseball with Daron as well. So he'll be on the call for a big ACC series this weekend. That and more next.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Katon Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Hoist the sail!
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors.
Ahoy, me hearties! Back to Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors, segment 3. Now on the show, we talk some ECU baseball. Some World Baseball Classic, NFL free agency as well. Katon Mitchell on the move to the LA Chargers. Let's talk some Pirate hoops now. We'll put a bow on the season with Daron Vaught, who joined us multiple times during the regular season. Also does some work with D1 baseball, and he'll be on the call for a huge college baseball series this weekend. We'll discuss that as well. But Daron, first off, welcome back. Secondly, we'll get into some specifics here in a minute, but if you could sum up the ECU basketball season that you were on the call for many of these games for, how would you describe it to somebody who was not able to follow along as closely?
Oh man, the second one's a doozy. The first one,
sorry, my bad. Okay, go ahead, Daron. My bad, I didn't have you up.
Oh, you're good. You're good. The second one is a doozy. The first one there, I'll just start by saying, I'll go ahead and say it. I miss you guys. Now the basketball's over. So good to be on. This season was. I mean, look, I think everybody has described it as disappointing, and that pretty much hit from start to finish. It was good to get some pieces of silver lining here and there, given the play of Jordan Riley, spectacular play. By the time ECU's season was finished, he was number 2 in the country in scoring. I was so glad that he got that Memphis Senior Day game and his moment that went viral with the dunk. It just kind of was a good pen on the season for him individually, and with as hard as that guy worked on a team that was chasing postseason contention all year. I just thought it was massively deserved for him to get some shine, and he even got invited to the college dunk contest Final Four weekend. Doesn't sound like he's going to do it, which is a bit of a bummer. I think that would have been a fun watch. And I think, look, there's a fair argument to be made in terms of him trying to be as appealing as possible to whomever at the next level. Is that exposure going to truly benefit you in that way, right? Like we've seen Mac McClung, who won 3 straight dunk contests, just kind of get passed around the G League. It's not necessarily an indicator of, oh, okay, you're an NBA player even if Jordan was to go on and win that sort of thing. So he wants to focus on getting pro ready. I know he told me he was going to take a short break at the very least. It feels like physically he needs that. But no, I mean, this is a very, very important offseason for Pirate basketball. And I think everybody gets what I mean when I say that.
Daron Vaught with this. What will you remember most about Jordan? And the way he played the game, obviously the scoring numbers are what they are, but calling those games, seeing it firsthand, what will you remember most about him?
He's the basketball equivalent of a cross-country runner, but also of an all-pro tailback. Like, to be that conditioned for distance and longevity, but also, again, be able to look like he could play middle linebacker for the Pirates also, it is just an amazing combination of attributes to me. And there was the game at FAU where it was the kind of the first eye-opening of a few on the road in conference play. And I don't remember exactly what my question was to him in the postgame. It was something along the lines of, man, okay, you've found another gear these past couple of games. What's behind that? I never in a million years would have expected him to tell me, guys, yeah, I've just been doing extra cardio. The guy that plays 40 minutes a night and has the highest usage rate in a single season by miles now in Pirate history, was running an extra mile every day to make sure that down the stretch in his 39th, 40th minute of a game, he could give this team something to contribute if it was in a close game. So obviously the physicality, the endurance, but the desire to have those things as sort of his calling card, I think, is what's going to stick out most to me. I mean, it was amazing to watch, and truthfully, a shame that the season went the way that it did, and couldn't have been better for what he gave the Pirates.
Obviously, the injuries played a role, Daron, and the team struggling, certainly with depth and certainly defensively with Jay Shane and Trevi, some of the other guys. How much of a factor ultimately do you think that was? And the record ended up being 11-20. They missed the conference tournament. Do you think you'd still be in Birmingham if those guys are healthy right now? Like, would the Pirates have made the tournament? And because it's kind of a tough thing to measure. We've had conversations on, off the air about it. Like, obviously it played a role, but how much of a role from kind of your perspective?
It is tough to measure. I do think the team probably would be in Birmingham right now. I don't know if that's as the 10 seed, the 9 seed, up top 4 seed, whatever, right? It's hard to imagine that would not have contributed positively, given how close the Pirates came to getting that 10th spot anyway. I mean, it came down to the final night of the season. And when I say I think it would have contributed positively, I think it has less to do with the practical contributions by a Jay Woodard or a Trevi LeBeau on the court, right? It's got more to do with just like the feeling of the rotation and the team being shaken up for the entirety of the season. Like, I think it rattled the team culture and sort of ethos from start to finish of the season. And you saw down the stretch, I mean, they won 6 of their last 12. 500 is not ideal basketball in conference play, but it's not bad. It's not terrible. They started to figure some things out, and it obviously was a little too late this season. So I think at the very least, there would have been just like a little bit more comfort with the team, some consistency with the team. Now, again, would we have still gotten to a point where it necessitated 40 minutes a night and 25 shots from the field every game for Jordan Riley? Who's to say? but at least a little bit more depth could have afforded some guys the opportunity to not be so stretched, which I think ultimately led to, and Coach Schwartz said it at the end of the final game, just the team kind of running out of gas by the end of the year. So you're right, it's impossible to quantify or qualify, but it could have been different without the injuries.
No doubt. Daron Vaught with us, ECU basketball play-by-play voice. And look, I talked to Coach Schwartz, after a few of these games, leaving Minges Coliseums, and you could tell throughout the season just how much it was weighing on him. And look, I mean, there are things I'm sure he's learned from this season, but I don't think there's a question about how much he pours into it. So when you were on the road, whether it be him, the staff, like kind of what was your vibes from just watching them kind of go through what was a struggle? Did get better towards the end, as you mentioned. But just like how much do you feel like it kind of weighed on the staff?
A ton. And I don't think it's a coincidence that these are basketball people, basketball lifers. And basketball is a game that in a lot of ways, working harder works out. You know what I mean? Like if you're a player and you can envision your time on the court, whenever that was, college, high school, little league, whatever. When you tried harder, things probably worked out more often. And it's not quite that way when you get in the coach's seat. There's a version of that, and it's grinding tape and finding what works, right? But there's a version of working smarter that usually pans out. And I think this coaching staff kind of tried both. It was like, okay, we're gonna use what we've got and do some workarounds, and that way you saw the implementation of more zone toward the middle of the season, and that worked for a bit. And then it sort of hit a wall because other teams started to figure it out. But then with what was in the limited cupboard, you couldn't necessarily just kind of like grind your way out of the funk either. So I think it was incredibly frustrating for the coaching staff because it ultimately, like, the team was what the team was. And what it was not deep enough, not talented enough to compete for an American, top half finish or whatever. Most nights to compete with one of the better teams in the conference. So yeah, like, there's no doubt in my mind that it was incredibly frustrating for the coaching staff. And toward the end, you kind of got the sense that they had come to terms with it. Not that you become okay with losing. You're still in the micro doing what you can every day to win. But in the macro, there became sort of a just a coming to terms with it. And it's like, we're doing what we can with what we have. And that was the extent of it, and which again I know is disheartening and frustrating for those guys.
On Tuesday, Philip and I think we ran through every player individually with eligibility remaining. I'm not going to ask you to do that, but just kind of like a snapshot of the offseason, what to expect. Like, our ultimate conclusion was like there's probably a handful of guys, or around there back maybe, and then you go add 7-8 players, and obviously, ideally, I don't think any of these guys are frontline guys. Maybe a Jay Shane gets healthy and he helps. We'll see what Calker does. How do you kind of snapshot this offseason? What are you looking for, ideally, for ECU to get done to have a better all-around team next season?
It's certainly a different offseason from what Mike Schwartz and his staff have experienced up to this point. We praised the staff leading into this season that the player who is eligible, or the team's leading scorer among those eligible to come back in every year of the Mike Schwartz era, came back, right? That included RJ Felton. It included Jordan Riley. I believe that's maybe a Tybo Bailey this year, technically speaking. So you don't have that surefire next in line to lead the team necessarily. And again, Jay, if he comes back healthy, which is another caveat here, certainly qualifies as a candidate for that. I'm going to get real nerdy on you guys here. There's a concept in literature, like when authors write novels and stories, called killing your darlings, which is a difficult one to use because I'm talking about, student athletes and human beings here. So, but follow me. So killing your darlings is a concept that advises writers to remove cherished like characters, scenes, lines, right? Like imagine you're writing a rough draft of the great American novel and you've just got this one piece of dialogue that you think is fire. And then you take it to an editor and they're like, no, it doesn't advance the story at all. But the author's just like, no, but I loved it when I first wrote it, right? It's a real thing, and I apply it to real life concepts all the time outside of literature. I think Mike Schwartz and his staff are going to have to do a number of job killing their darlings in this season. And it doesn't mean writing off guys who are on the team. It doesn't mean you just part ways with every player just because. But even in terms of expectations when a Reed Kaysen got to campus, for example, expectations when you brought in an Isaiah Mbang, a Corey Kalker, I think there just has to be a top-down stripping of and resetting the expectations for all of those guys, no matter what you dreamt that they could be at some point. And that's going to require some work and some introspection, and like you're going to have to get real with yourself, and that is before you even hit the portal and try to pull in the players necessary to create the roster that you want to, after kind of reimagining the pieces you have already. Does that make sense? Like there's a good rough draft, it feels like, of a core there. But if we took it to an editor, they'd say, okay, well, where's this? Where's that? Where's this? How does this advance the storyline? How does this advance the plot? So I just think there's a lot of editing to do to keep to the analogy. Like it's going to be a really important offseason.
No, I think it's very well said, and the analogy fits because I feel like you do have some pieces there that could come back, but if you try to stick them in the same role or the same area of the story that you originally set it in, it's probably not going to work too well.
I'll use Mike Schwartz's words as part of this. He talked about the length and the athleticism and the team speed and becoming an issue because of the absence of like a Trevi LeBeau or a Jay Woodard. Not necessarily that it's contradictory, but does that mean that Corey Kalker is your starting point guard going into next year? If that is something that you have come to over the span of the season, value maybe a little bit more. I don't know. And certainly Corey started to turn it on toward the end of the season. I think he's absolutely someone who could be a valuable piece on next year's team. But I don't know what the reevaluation looks like for a guy like him, because like I said, I think top to bottom, you've got to do it, especially because the guy you were assuming was going to be one of your best players, and two of the guys who you pointed to as, hey, these were rotational pieces, very important pieces coming into the year in LeBeau and Woodard, like you never know how they're going to come back from injury. So you can do less depending on what you've got coming back than you could have in years past.
No doubt. Well said, Daron Vaught with us. Let's get our final break in. We'll come back. We'll hit some college baseball to wrap up the show. We'll have a few minutes left after this break. We'll be right back.
Get ready to bring on the savings at Greenville Toyota with major deals on brand new Toyotas like a Camry, $229 a month, or RAV4, $279 a month. Now's your turn to save at Greenville Toyota.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Your future is full of possibilities, and Pitt Community College can help you explore every option. You can earn a degree, learn a trade, transfer to a university, or launch a new career. We offer the support you need to succeed with flexible schedules, affordable tuition, and programs designed for the real world. Your path, your future, your college. Pitt Community College. Register now.
Bring on the savings with new Toyotas from $159 a month at Greenville Toyota. Get huge discounts like Corolla's $159 a month or Tacoma's $249 a month. Save today at Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves
Like all
you money.
pirates, Stephen Igo is loyal and bold. He may also have a touch of scurvy. Back to Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
A few minutes left on the show. We got Daron Vaught hanging on. Let's get to some quick college baseball talk. Philip Pilkin and producing. Daron, you were telling me you are on the call for Florida State, Wake Forest, the top 20 matchup this weekend, and old ECU assistant Ling Jarrett. You caught up with him earlier today, so are you excited about this? Tell us about these two teams, because ECU doesn't play Wake, but obviously in the region we monitor them quite a bit, and it should be a fun series in ACC play.
Yeah, top 20 series. FSU is 20th, Wake is 12th. They had a 15-game win streak. Wake Forest did. That just got snapped, but they're both playing really well. I think the ceiling talent-wise for both teams is Omaha-ish, right? Wake Forest has at least a handful of guys pumping 95-plus on the mound. It's really dynamic stuff. And Florida State has one of the more intriguing hitters on the planet in Miles Bailey. Link told me earlier he's hit 3 balls 115 miles per hour off the bat or harder that have gone off the wall for doubles. And it's actually kind of impressive that Bailey got doubles out of those, because that's getting out and stopping at the wall in a hurry. Sometimes that can just be held to a single. But huge series. One of 2 ranked matchups in the ACC this weekend. Georgia Tech, Clemson starts tonight. But games 1 and 2 Friday, Saturday are on ACC and X. Those are digital streams. Dick Cook, former Davidson head coach, is my analyst on those.
Oh,
I think we lost Daron.
We may have lost Daron. Well, at least we got we got 2 segments out of him. That was
we'll go to this and
in
then
proper time. We'll see if we can get him back.
I just texted him.
I mean, we got to wrap the show in
Yeah,
a minute
we got
anyway,
a minute
so
left. I don't know what happened.
That was funny. Either way, you can hear Daron on the call this weekend. Wake Forest and Florida State. Yeah, Link Jarrett has done a heck of a job since leaving ECU. He was, it's not a surprise that ECU's best run under Billy Godwin was when Link Jarrett was his top assistant. So, good things there. So, ECU Penn, obviously, this weekend in college baseball. You have, as he mentioned, Georgia Tech, Clemson, UNC going out to California, Phillip. Nothing like a good old early ACC matchup, East Coast to West Coast trip. Cal, 13-4. I'm interested to see how the series goes. UNC did not play well against Virginia, so they did win, salvage a game, but they look kind of rough otherwise, and we'll see how they respond. But we're getting to that point now. College baseball, the conference games are coming. March Madness coming. We talked about it, World Baseball Classic. Spring football starts next Wednesday. There's just a lot.
Yeah, so Darren texted me, oh no, he knows we're about out of time, but he said, do tell people that Sunday is on the actual ACC network. So Friday, Saturday, ACC Digital, so you log into the ESPN app with your cable provider and the normal ACC network Sunday.
Good stuff. Well, you can hear Daron there, and we really appreciate his contributions to the show. Sorry he could not formally say bye, but promise we didn't kick him off. And just a little technical glitch there. We'll get Daron back on again. Honestly, we were supposed to get him on more during the season. The basketball season just didn't go great, so we'll try to get him on throughout the college baseball season because as March Madness wraps up, we'll need to talk some more college baseball. All right, appreciate Daron Vaught. Appreciate Phillip Pilkington. We're out of time. We'll get out of here. We'll see you Friday, 12 noon on Hoist the Colors.